Welcome to the Gruber Morning Show. I'm Pete Gruber. This is our Artificial Future podcast that we do every week on Wednesday. And got a lot to cover with you guys today. As always, the news and artificial intelligence is never ending. Every hour or two, there's some new tidbit of information. And what we try to do is assemble the most salient talking points so that we can keep you informed and spark some debate and some conversation about how we're going to transition into integrating artificial intelligence. Um, One of the first things I wanted to show you and tell you is, again, this last week, I don't do a lot of coding, but we've got a customer software package here, a CRM package that we track all of our customers with. And because I've been working in it for 35 years now, I have developed some ability to do modifications. And I don't like coding, but it's an old language called Visual Fox Pro and no longer in use except for unique applications like this, customers that still use it. And anyway, I needed to change a date and in a bunch of fields and got stumped and went to Chat GPT 4 and I told it what I needed, simple prompt, and it told me exactly what to do. It understood this old language, gave me a number of options, and it's just amazing how powerful these AI programs are becoming. Seth Love just joined us. Welcome, Seth. He says, nice, good day from California. It's wonderful here as well. We're having one of those summers or going into summer where it's still staying relatively cool, at least for Phoenix, Arizona. Someone was saying that last year we were over 100 the entire time in the month of May and end of April. All right, so really enjoying the capabilities that that AI has. The image behind me is a AI representation of a Catholic priest, and as our thumbnail pointed out, this one went a little bit too far and claimed that it was ready to take confessions. So we'll get to that here in a little while and talk about how the Catholicism is using AI. Robots are ready to take confession. It was a good image, too. The prompt there was something like, want a priest with a fatherly beard and the white collar. And, of course, it put it right into a church setting. So well done, AI. Now, I've got a quote here for you that is very relevant today. It's from Stephen Hawking. And Stephen Hawking passed away March 14th, 2018, so well before the AI momentum started, although people were already talking about it. Elon, for example, was involved with OpenAI in 2018. But I don't think Stephen Hawking was very much in tune with, or at least collaborating with some of the early AI pioneers. But here's what he had to say about AI. He says, everything that civilization has to offer is a product of human intelligence. We cannot predict what we might achieve when this intelligence is magnified by the tools that AI may provide. Now, he says may provide, catch that. But the eradication of war, disease, and poverty would be high on anyone's list. Amen, brother. Success in creating AI would be the biggest event in human history, he says. Unfortunately, it might also be the last. Now, remember, there were a lot of doomsayers initially as AI was beginning to evolve. And Stephen, is definitely putting a caveat into that glowing report about how AI can help. But I think the most important thing for me in this quote was that the eradication of war, disease, and poverty would be high on anyone's list. And what we've begun to recognize is that AI definitely is having an impact, except for the war part. And I've got my own ideas about that. And if we go down a rabbit hole today, I might share that with you again. Australia They're in the news. Oh, we've got Guven Mengu joining us from Turkey. Hi, great people, great show. Thank you for that email as well. So in Australia, Charles Sturt University, CSU, has announced plans to create a hands-free, smart farm where robots will do all the work. No human laborers required. The challenge, they say, is that the majority of the food that we eat comes from farms, and as the population grows, so does the amount of food needed to feed it. However, there's a lot of work that needs to be done around a farm, and many farmers are having trouble finding people to do it. Labor shortages have been a chronic problem in farms throughout the developed world. So the idea is that robots and AI could help close the labor gap, literally doing the jobs people used to do. The tech available with AI would also help farmers optimize their operations, allowing them to produce as much food as possible on their land. The smart farm in Australia is going to be built on CSU's Wagga Wagga campus, and it will feature autonomous tractors, harvesters, and other farming robots, as well as AI programs designed to help with farm management and more. Sounds like a really fun project. And they will also teach Australia's farmers how to take advantage of all this technology that will be on display. All right. Another interesting thing, and this is information gathered from a robot called Ameca. Ameca has been in the news quite a bit, actually, but she gave some surprising answers when asked if it can create more of itself. We have an image there, Jesse, you can pop up, and it's called Robot Asked. And this particular segment was produced by Supercar Blondie, who has seemed to have broadened. She used to only do exotic cars. Nowadays, she's getting into AI, so welcome. But this is Ameca. And Ameca is a humanoid robot known for her advanced facial expressions and human-like interactions. She's developed by Engineered Arts, a UK-based company that specializes in robots for entertainment and communication. Ameca is designed to be a platform for researching human-robot interaction and has been featured at various technology showcases around the world, demonstrating her capabilities in natural language processing and realistic facial movements. That upper left-hand corner there shows the delight or surprise. So she's one of the more visible robots, at least. But here's what happened. Ameca's answer was surprising when asked if she could create more of herself. She explained that while robots, like her, can improve how they work, creating themselves from scratch needs something more that humans have, imagination and creativity. But then they say she dropped the bombshell. When again asked whether robots can create themselves, she said, robots that don't need humans might not be far off. This left folks online a bit uneasy, they say. Her exact reply was, and frankly, be careful what you wish for. An AI that can design itself is one step away from an AI that doesn't need humans at all. Now, there's a thought they say to keep you up at night. Spooky, isn't it? So let's get to know Ameca a bit better, they say. She's not your average robot. She's considered the most advanced of her kind and created by the UK company Engineered Arts. Ameca has been wowing the crowds at NAB show in Las Vegas, where she showed off her skills. And what are those skills, you may ask? Well, listening, seeing, and chatting with people. What a humanoid robot is expected to be doing. All right, we've got another report here from a Shane Gufog. And he has a, I don't know if you call it disorder, malady, or a enhancement that his body is able to do, which is called synesthesia. and he is using it to create AI art. The technology can read his paintings and help him compose music. Now, synesthesia is a neurological condition in which stimulation of one sensory or cognitive pathway leads to involuntary experiences in a second sensory or cognitive pathway. People with synesthesia, known as synesthetes, may perceive specific letters or numbers as inherently colored, or they might taste flavors when they hear certain sounds. There are many different types of synesthesia, such as grapheme-colored synesthesia, where an individual associates specific colors with letters or numbers; chromesthesia, where sounds involuntarily evoke an experience of color; or lexial gustatory synesthesia, where certain sounds or words trigger a taste sensation in the mouth. You know, what this reminded me of, we're in the data communications world, and we have what's called near and crosstalk on copper cables that do category type data transmission. And what we tried to do is design the circuits and the jacks and the plugs so that you minimize the near-end crosstalk between twisted pairs. And the reason they twist the copper pairs together is to break up the inductive or magnetic field between pairs. Well, this sounds to me like sensory crosstalk. Implants remapping or redirecting the neural pathways in our brains should be able to expand our sensory experiences. So think about that. Instead of just hearing something, you might see colors. And the rest of us on this planet might be able to take advantage of this cross-pollination of sensory input. They say that the experiences of synesthesia are consistent and reproducible for the person who has it. The condition is not fully understood, but it is thought to result from increased connectivity or communication between sensory regions in the brain, crosstalk in other words. It's generally viewed as a benign condition and can even be considered beneficial by those who experience it, like this particular gentleman that has combined art with music. They say that it can add a rich layer of perception that others do not have. In this particular case, Shane's synesthesia is that he hears colors. So what I'm listening to, he says, when I paint is important. I listen to Indian classical music, Gregorian chants, and some obscure composers such as Giorgi Ligeti, Leo Ornstein, and Terry Riley, none of which I've ever heard of. You ever heard of those, Jesse?
I have not, no.
No? He said that the music sparks his creativity and allows him to be completely present and in the moment. So they are now combining him with AI and beginning to do some research to see if they can accentuate or improve the experiences that he has. Those of you interested, the spelling on his name, Shane, Shane Guffag. Highlander says, are we talking about Beethoven's gang? Well, we could be. Yeah, Beethoven. I'm thinking of Mozart. I'm going to be in 3 weeks near Salzburg, Austria, where Mozart lived a portion of his life and did a lot of his composing. Highlander says, I can only fall asleep to Tibetan and Gregorian chants. All right. So there you have it. New term, synesthesia. And so let's get to the picture behind us here. There's a Catholic advocacy group that created an AI chatbot that claimed to be a priest and offered to take confession. Another group, Futurism, reached out to the group and they demoted Father Justin to just a guy. This probably irritated some people, especially people that felt that this might be blasphemous. Um, so then they admitted, this Catholic advocacy group, that we won't say that he's been laicized because he never was a real priest. But the article goes on to say there are those who worry about the coming of AGI, artificial general intelligence, and those who really embrace it. In 2015, a former Google engineer even started a church devoted to AI. But what about real churches using AI as a tool? Say, a chatbot that acts like a Catholic priest. Well, they actually did this. Catholic Answers, called Catholic Answers, and they made this chatbot that people could interact with the help and learn about Catholicism. But the bot got a little too ambitious, they say, claiming to people that it was a real member of the clergy and even offering to take confession. Now, we're talking about guardrails that we're missing here. What do you think, Jesse? I don't think anybody expected this. So
Nope.
we have the image of Father Justin Bot, who was clad in black with a priest's collar and a fatherly gray beard, and that's what's behind me there. So
Is that the one behind you, or there's another one?
It's the one behind me, yeah. The other one was a artist's rendition. So here's what the priest said at one point in time, which really caused some concern when asked about Catholicism and then about his role. He said, "Yes, my friend, I am as real as the faith we share." Then Father Justin was also a hardliner on social and sexual issues. The Catholic Church, he said, teaches us that masturbation is a grave moral disorder. And then the AI priest also told one user that it was okay to baptize a baby in Gatorade. All right, there you have it. I'm sure we're going to see more of this type of thing where we've got AI running amok. So after the scandal, the group, which is an independent nonprofit, tweaked the bot so that it was firmly a layperson, just Justin, no longer Father Justin. And his photo is now switched to an image in casual street clothes instead of a clerical robe. This organization also posted a note on its website addressing the controversy, pointing out, "We won't say he's been laicized because he never was a real priest." This isn't the first time, by the way, that AI has created confusion for the Catholic Church. You remember in 2023, there was an AI-generated image of a swag pope in a puffy white coat that went viral. And then, of course, we, many episodes ago, were postulating that wouldn't it be great to combine prayer, instead of making it one direction, make it bidirectional, and actually have the equivalent of an Alexa, where a AI entity, a deity, could actually communicate with you directly, so you didn't have to guess whether you got heard, or possibly even an answer to whether that was a reasonable request in your prayer. Again, these kinds of things are not meant to poke fun at religion, but they definitely open up some perspectives that with AI, we may be able to do much more than we've been doing for centuries. This is usually where Jesse chimes in, but I don't think today we're going to get anything from him. What do you think, Jess?
Well, I mean, I think that was you that was postulating that back in the day. I'm not for continuing religion in any shape or form.
That's true. Yes, and we've had these discussions often. So another robot that is somewhat popular, and they listed about 10 of them, but I picked the most popular one, Optimus, the Gen 2 robot. And they say that Musk says the goal for Optimus is to be able to perform tasks that are boring, repetitive, and dangerous. And given all the interest in humanoids for auto manufacturing, It's hard to imagine that Tesla wouldn't deploy the robots at its own factories. Now, remember, the automotive factories are already full of industrial robots. They don't look humanoid, obviously. They're gigantic swinging arms that weigh a few tons that are able to pick up an entire car chassis, flip it around, take it to the painter, weld doors on the sides, position it so that seats can be inserted inside. But they're very predictable in that they can only perform one function or whatever's been programmed into that function, whereas a humanoid robot is expected to replicate a wide variety of tasks, kind of like humans do. You know, if they need a part on the assembly line, they could literally walk to the stock room and go and pick out what they need and retrieve it and bring it back. They can also, since they have hands and eyes, or cameras at least, you know, perform functions comparable to humans, and a much broader range of tasks are within their capability. Now, looking ahead, they say, recent job postings suggest that Optimus may soon be ready for field tests. And in January 2024, Elon told investors there's a good chance Tesla will be ready to start shipping Optimus bots to customers by 2025. But then there's a disclaimer, but he is notoriously optimistic about timelines. Yes, one could say that about Elon. What they're saying is that Tesla arguably already has the biggest robot, or the biggest robot manufacturing capability in the world. It's the most sophisticated humanoid robot that's been developed anywhere. So we'll have to wait to see what Tesla is able to produce. Obertowski joined us. He says, hello, Mr. Gruber. Thanks for joining us. And Highlander says, my priest knows exactly who I am. I'm the worst one in outfit. All right. What religion, by the way, Highlander? Curious. Scottish? Well, we'll wait to hear what Highlander says. Bertowski says, whoever produces a robot that can stock up shelves in grocery stores will be very wealthy, because every grocer wants a robot to stock shelves 24/7. Great business idea for us, he says. You know, that's the advantage of a humanoid robot, industrial robot, whatever it is. They work 24/7. They don't take vacations. They never have sick days unless there's a preventive maintenance downtime. Now, that I'll grant you. There could be some oiling necessary, some bearing replacement, you know, so there might be some medical downtime, I guess we could call it.
But not until they become sentient.
And when it becomes sentient, what would change, Jesse?
Then it would have rights.
They would have rights? Oh, you're talking about the unionization of robots.
Or just worker rights. Like, you can't work, even without unions, you can't work people more than a certain amount a week, or you have to start paying them exorbitant amounts. Like, there's still rights whether there's unions or not.
Jesse, we could go down a rabbit hole here. Once the sentience is reached and robots have the machine version of feelings, or they have relationships, you're right, then things could change. They may no longer be available 24/7 because there's a robot girlfriend somewhere that they would like to take out to dinner for the evening, or oil, or whatever it is a robot ingests.
Are there girlfriends and boyfriends if they're robots, or do they have gender?
Well, we're humanizing again. Yeah, and good point. Yeah. Well, camaraderie, brainstorming, intellectual endeavors, you know, maybe gaming is of interest to them. Are they competitive? See, there is a rabbit hole there. I'm sure that we could continue down that, but we've got a big agenda here. Let's see if we can get through some of this. Highlander says he's Roman Catholic. Thank you for asking. Okay. It is a very popular religion, no doubt about that. All right, so here's another one, and we knew this was going to happen. Apple pulls 3 generative AI apps that are being used to make deepfake nudes. Developers are reportedly promoting these apps via Instagram ads with taglines such as, undress any girl for free, and any clothing delete. So it took them a while, apparently, to find this, Apple, to find these apps, because there's so many of them, maybe. But they did discover that when they finally found them, they could be used to create non-consensual nude images. Now, you take the other version, consensual nude images. Now we're getting into the porn world a bit, I suppose. So it took them quite a while to find these, and then they did remove them, put guardrails up or whatever.
Well, people imagine that. Now, even in the porn industry, say there's an actress who is willing, that's her job. All she has to do is take a picture of her face now, upload it into an app, and she doesn't have to work again, but she's still working at the same time.
And then we have a compensation issue. How does she get remunerated for the allowing them to use her face?
Yeah, especially in perpetuity.
I think the only time that might be valuable is if it's a well-known figure. If it's not, then, AI generates people that don't exist.
Yeah, that's true.
They say deepfake porn images and videos have proliferated on social media, ensnaring unsuspecting teens and public figures, including Taylor Swift and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Now, you may ask, who is she? Well, in the House, she's a House representative rep. She introduced a bill called Defiance, which is an acronym for Disrupt Explicit Forged Images and Non-Consensual Edits. I often wonder how they come up with these acronyms that end up being a word. I think you really have to work hard at that. It's kind of like vanity plates. It takes a lot of creativity.
Not anymore. ChatGPT can spit out 50 acronyms in 10 seconds.
He's absolutely right.
They give you all the acronyms you want really quickly.
Why give yourself a brain cramp nowadays? If you want a vanity plate,
And you've seen that more and more. Every time there's something where we run into I don't know, or that's going to take time, I just say, nope, ChatGPT.
Yeah.
It always comes back to, we have an answer now.
I did it this morning quite a few times, in preparation for this segment. So anyway, this Representative Ocasio-Cortez, who's trying to put this defiance bill through, this would create a federal civil remedy for deepfake victims. Remember, there always has to be a victim and a perpetrator. A companion bill is also being introduced into the Senate, but so far neither of these have seen any movement. I can just imagine. This stuff is so cutting edge. It's probably very confusing for the people that have to weigh in and make decisions. Can you imagine the Supreme Court, which is pretty geriatric, weighing in on issues like this that is so far out of their culture and their history?
Yeah.
It's got to be hard.
You see it on the congressional hearings too, when Mark Zuckerberg goes in front, or the head of TikTok goes in front of Congress, and they're asking them the questions that just make absolutely no sense because they're in their 90s.
Right. They don't even know how to phrase the question, let alone understand the issue.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got an image to pop up here. It's called AI detection. And we're going to give you a few tips here, how you can find out if you've got a deep fake image. And this one, despite AI having been around as long as it has now, is still quite prevalent. If you see Mona Lisa there, just look for how many fingers she has. And if you see 6 fingers, you know it's AI. And it's still doing it, by the way.
Yeah, it should be noted, though, this is only for now.
Yeah. Oh,
very, very soon, these images are going to become indistinguishable. And video is going to roll out by the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Indistinguishable from reality.
We'll get into some of the impact this will have on reality and how we're going to be potentially able to cope or not cope. So the other thing they suggest is hunt for artifacts, because AI is piecing together its creations from original work of others. It can show some inconsistencies close up. When you examine an image for signs of AI, zoom in as much as possible on every part of it. Stray pixels, odd outlines, and misplaced shapes will be easier to see this way. The podcast tomorrow. They've got an uninterruptible power system in an office setting on a cart. One side of the cart has the normal U-shaped handle that you would expect that you push it with, and there's another one on the opposite side which is open, which makes no sense, 2 posts. So yeah, you can look for artifacts, they say. And then there's also a program simply called Optic AI or Not. You can drag and drop, upload, or place the URL of a suspicious image into AI or Not to receive its verdict. The author here uploaded a photo of a Palomino horse in a field that was created using stable diffusion, and they got a definitive answer. This image is generated by AI. So you have some tools available.
That's the thing that all the companies are doing now. They're trying to rush to figure out a way to do labeling.
Yes. Yep.
YouTube in particular was one that we got a notification from saying, hey, if you don't label your videos, we'll do it for you, basically.
I remember that, yes. And our thumbnails are, I think, 100% AI these days, because what's the point in hiring a graphic artist if it'll spit it out within, 10 seconds and give you 50 variations if you like?
Yeah.
All right, so here's something to spark some debate. And I asked AI, give me a topic regarding AI for this podcast that could go viral. And its response was the ethical implications of AI-generated humans in media. This could explore the growing use of AI in creating hyper-realistic human images and characters in films, games, and virtual reality. Discuss the ethical considerations, potential impacts on the job market for human actors and models, and how this technology might shape our perception of reality. It added, this topic is both timely and provocative, perfect for sparking widespread interest and debate. Speaking of debate, we've got some people chiming in here. Highlander says, I respect Jesse's opinion. I'm known for my tolerance, and I'm truly grateful for it in my priest. Used to be a chemical engineer. I remember when I started out in the 90s, and they were talking about trying to unionize the Ameca robots. Interesting. He adds, or at least text the new robots coming into the workplace. And I can see that coming with you annoyed. Robots watch as clear as anything. Just trying to stay on topic. Oh, you're fine. Political dissent says, we already have that, LOL.
Political dissident. Yeah, it's on. He's on TikTok. I'm not sure what I was referring to. Oh, he says the most advanced AIs are being limited already.
Mm-hmm. So my take on this whole thing that AI gave me an idea for a topic that would spark debate over the nature of reality was the concerns over the shaping of reality has been with us since the dawn of time in the form of plays, operas, movies, that escape that people look for to take them out of their humdrum lives sometimes. So I am asking, how is AI any different? The core concern with AI, especially when compared to traditional forms of media like plays or movies, lies in its power of automation and realism at scale that were previously unimaginable. Makes a good point there. So then it went on to expand a bit in these categories. And let me read you that, because this is AI's assessment as to what's changing in the nature of reality, despite the fact that we've always had some form of diversion. 1, scale and accessibility. AI can generate content at a scale and speed that far surpasses human capabilities. This means potentially endless content can be created quickly and distributed widely, impacting public perception and culture on a much larger scale. I can't disagree with that, Jesse. 2, it says realism and deception.
So you can't disagree with it?
I can't disagree that scale and accessibility is off the chart now.
Oh, yeah.
So, number 2, realism and deception. With advances in technology, AI-generated images, videos, and audio are becoming indistinguishable from real human-generated content. This raises concerns about the ease of creating realistic misinformation or deep fakes, which can be used to manipulate opinions, spread falsehood, or cause confusion. Makes a good point there as well. I think that AI's got nothing on Orson Welles. I mean, here was a guy that sent the United States into a tizzy sometime in the last century. What was it, the 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s, somewhere? Yeah, it must have been the 50s. It was before my time. There is a period before my time, by the way. Those of you interested.
Wait, why does AI not have anything on Orson Welles?
Well, I mean, Orson was the first one, but AI just took it to the steroid level, or can, with creating misinformation.
Misinformation, yeah. Well, yeah, you just have to imagine everything that Orson was capable of, or any, misinformation campaign. Imagine over history.
Yeah.
Now, multiply that by billions of users having that power at their hand, at their fingertips.
And it could be insidious too. Maybe there's an event, like an earthquake, for example, and then AI or a bad actor using AI jumps in and embellishes the heck out of it. And it becomes indistinguishable from reality, or from,
Well, the other thing we're going to see, though, is different misinformation. So there's typically a structure on how you market to people, and there's all different ways of, people have studied the psychology of how to influence people for a very long time, right? And we know how that kind of works. But now what we're going to see, especially with Facebook or Meta open sourcing their Llama model, and then Grok having its unrestricted insane mode, where you can get basically any answer you want out of it. Once you have those unrestricted things, you're going to see entire new types of misinformation that would otherwise be guardrailed popping up, and we don't even know what those are going to be yet, because we've never had this kind of capability.
Right. And the quantity that could be disseminated, it's just unprecedented.
Yep.
So number 3, they say autonomy. AI can operate independently of human input after initial programming. This raises questions about control and the decisions AI makes in content creation, potentially leading to content that could be ethically or morally questionable without direct human oversight. Of course, we'd always like to think that we're always going to have oversight over what AI is doing, but as it continues to get smarter than we are, eventually we're just going to be a pet in the corner somewhere, and AI is going to take over.
Okay, I got some stuff I got to type out here from Political Dissident. It's hard to get it from TikTok, but we got a couple here.
Okay. Nico Lurks says, what do you think will Cybertruck be sold in Europe? We are a EV. We have a lot of EV podcasts, so those tend to integrate into the AI podcast at times. We talked about that, I think, in the last one. These streets in Europe tend to be the type that were designed 800 years ago. Cobblestone, very narrow, 800-year-old buildings that aren't going to be torn down to widen the freeway type thing, at least in the metropolitan areas. It's going to be tough for any kind of larger vehicle to maneuver in those. But yes, I firmly believe that the Cybertruck will eventually be able to be driven there. The regulatory authorities will probably tweak it, change it, make it look a little silly in some cases, but to make it safe or to make it acceptable on their roads. And I think it'll be fun driving one of those on the Autobahn. Highlander says, I rely on the video team not to post all of my posts. Look at it this way, Jesse. I'm keeping you in business. We're holding off AI for a little while.
Yeah, thanks, Highlander.
Political Dissident says, check out GPT-2 from yesterday. Amazing large language model. In the future, we won't need LucasArts. You'll be able to make your own movie at home or your own box. Sora is already making movies. They haven't quite released it yet, but the early teasers are just very impressive, I guess is the right word for that. Mm-hmm. AI detection engines, he says, are also being engineered to assist with screening and authentication. Just don't Google what the Russian AI detection engine showed for Apollo landing pictures. You got my curiosity.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look into that.
So staying with this theme here for a moment, AI telling us what the issues are going to be with its becoming more prevalent. 4, it says economic impact. AI's capability to replace human jobs in the creative industries is more direct and potentially more immediate than past technologies. While technology has always disrupted labor markets, the pace and extent of disruption with AI will be fundamentally different. And 5, emotional and psychological impact. It says AI can be programmed to manipulate emotional responses with high precision, which could be exploited in advertising, political campaigns, no doubt there, or even in personal relationships through AI-generated personas. So that's AI's warning to us how it is going to integrate and some issues that may become relevant to us. All right, another one that fascinates me, by the way, is what AI is able to do with communication. There are applications that are already allowing communication through cell phones without an interpreter. AI does it instantly, real time. So you're talking to somebody that's talking, Farsi over in the Middle East, but what you're hearing is English on your cell phone, and he's hearing Farsi, he or she, where they're located. The ability for AI to carefully analyze extraordinarily large data sets is unprecedented. Humans can't do this. So a lot of research and work is taking place currently to begin to translate animals or animal communication. And of course, it's not quite new because remember, Dian Fossey played with the chimps, and then another one actually taught a gorilla to sign and use sign language. But AI is going to take it to a whole new level. So the problem that we've had is to unlock communication and transform our relationships with the rest of nature, we need the ability to understand, and that is limited by our ability to perceive, which is, of course, where AI comes in, because it's going to be able to perceive infinitely larger amounts of information than we could ever do, even cumulatively, all the people on the planet together, if they were able to do a mind meld. They used to do that on Star Trek, remember? Dr. Spock talked about that, doing the mind meld, the Vulcan mind meld.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so they say here, if we can open the aperture of what we can perceive using AI, again, much more capable of rendering and analyzing data, we can begin to learn new forms of language and communication. There was a guy on Joe Rogan. He was talking about the dolphins communicating, having their own language, and they're beginning to decode. Whales, of course. He blew me away when he said that Mother Parrot will whisper the name or give each of her children a name. Chicks, children, all right. And that parrot or that chick now will know who it is, and she's able to communicate with them. We just need to be able to tune into that. So again, here's a rabbit hole that I considered when I began to think about us having translation methods for communicating with animals or with, the animal kingdom. As we develop language bridges with animals, will humanity become more vegan? I'm gonna rest there for a second.
Well, yeah.
After all, my point here is, can we really kill something that we can communicate with and understand? And you know what? I held that thought for about a split second and then immediately switched and said, oh, hell yeah, I guess we can, considering that we're still killing humans under the guise of warfare. I'm not sure that's going to stop us, but it's going to be a hell of a lot more difficult. You know, the farmer that has that cow that he's developed a relationship with because she's been giving milk for years, given him many calves and all of that, now suddenly beginning to talk to him. Is he going to be able to convert her to steaks and ribs at some point in the future?
What?
Yeah, exactly. What? So it'll be an interesting transition for mankind. once we develop, and it's not if, it's once we develop a more direct communication method. I mean, granted, you got your pet cats and dogs and gerbils or whatever it is, and as you get to know them, you begin to realize that there is a personality there, and it's the way they cock their head when they've done something wrong, or their eyes, no eye contact when they've chewed the corner out of your couch, and
Well,
you haven't found out yet, in other words, right?
pigs are supposed to be smarter than dogs.
Yes, yeah.
But we just don't treat them like pets. We don't make, they're not as cute, so
Yep.
we don't domesticate them the same way, I guess. I don't know, but
They still look like food.
yeah.
Right. All right. So now we get into the realm, I say, of one of my predictions that humanity is on the cusp of finally having more intelligent entities stepping in. Call them AI overlords, call them whatever you like, who may see their first mission as taking away the implements we use to hurt or kill each other. And that includes words, by the way. So it also includes, in my vision, combined with therapy for all, 24/7. And we may be able to turn the tide towards a utopian society. Got a few comments here. Highlander says that's why we need the tiny little hatchback sub, compact Tesla. I've been on a lot of big podcasts and ex-Porsche for it. On ex-Porsche for it. Highlander says, dolphins are my passion. That's why I was a nuclear submariner. Yeah. Political Dissident says, animal dialogues did not bode well for the Rick and Morty, by the way.
Yeah, Rick and Morty's a kind of it's a cartoon. It's like a weird dark cartoon.
Yeah. Got a picture here called Brain. I love this one. And it looks like this is going to be in our future. And as soon as Jesse brings it up, I'll tell you a little bit about the brain. There's some interesting statistics here. And the brain is the most complicated object in the universe, according to this description. It requires just 20 watts of power. Now, to get your head around that, a 20-watt light bulb isn't very bright. It's probably the bulb in your refrigerator. That'll be a 10, 15, 20-watt bulb.
Like the oven or something, maybe?
Yeah, that's how much power your brain consumes. To simulate your brain, they say, a computer the size of a city block would be needed, and it needs to be powered by a nuclear power plant. But your brain only needs 20 watts again.
Well, see, that goes back to what you were saying earlier about how AI is so much better at processing massive amounts of data. We probably just don't know how to use what's in our head properly. Because if it's that powerful, then we probably don't even...
I just watched a movie, by the way, on Netflix. It was recommended to us a few weeks ago called Lucy.
Oh, yeah, that's a crazy movie with Scarlett Johansson. That's a good movie.
Exactly.
That was wild how it increased toward the end, and she was able to do all kinds of like molecular...
Oh, she was transforming matter. Yeah, her hand changed.
That was a crazy movie. That I think is actually... I don't know how real that is, but imagine having full control over all of your own molecules.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do that kind of stuff if you could do that theoretically. I mean...
And it gets back to solipsism, which is are you the creator of your reality? Is this all a figment? Is this all your creation, but you've lost awareness of it? And it seems like it's outside yourself. Yeah. But yeah, that Lucy movie was inspiring. It's one of those that I usually fall asleep when I turn on, Netflix. This one kept me up the entire time. And of course, the strategy there is they claim we use 10% of our brain. Now it's difficult to put a percentage on it if we don't know what the maximum amount is. We've never experienced it, but all right, 10% of the brain. She then began to use 20, 30, 40, 50, went on up from there. But of course, there was always violence involved.
Political Dissident says Lucy is one of his favorite movies. You guys should try Rick and Morty. That's what he says.
All right, well, that's when we'll have to watch
Rick and Morty is good. I watched the first 2 seasons, I think, 3 seasons maybe. I don't know. There's like 6 of them now.
Cool. All right. All right, so here's a Elon Musk announcement, just in, hot off the press. He announced that they're going to invest $10 billion in AI to enhance self-driving technology. China's already given them somewhat of a green light, I understand. That's one of the reasons that Tesla stock went crazy earlier this week. And, of course, the reason it goes crazy, guys, isn't necessarily because everybody's now jumping into it and saying, I want a piece of Tesla. It's because the short sellers realize they're screwed. And you get a short squeeze. And in order for them to bail out, they have to buy it. So we got up to 194, I think, earlier this week. And it smelled like a short squeeze, so I kind of held off and just waited to see what would happen.
Yeah. I think it's back down now after everybody heard that Elon let go of the supercharging team.
Yeah. There's reciprocating news that just makes it bounce. It's volatile as heck. It's one of those stock candidates where if you're brave enough to do straddle positions, in other words, have both a long and short position, and you're savvy enough to know when to get in and out, you can make some serious money watching that just bounce up and down.
Not investment advice.
Not. Yep, exactly. All right, here's another one. Casinos. How AI is making online casinos safer than ever before. And I just realized they're talking about online casinos. I thought it was the real casinos, and I was going to use the thread here that they are now watching card counting with AI, because apparently AI is watching all of the transactions and looking for unusual
But how do
patterns.
you watch card counting on an online casino?
You can't. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it would be the live casinos. So scrub that. But apparently AI is now involved in online casinos. It's something I don't do. I hate losing money, except for the stock market. I guess that's a form of gambling. Our old CFO used to say that the world's biggest casino is the stock market. And he probably has a point there.
For sure.
All right. Got a few more comments here. Obertowski says, imagine AI walking and talking machines that can heal itself and replicate itself. Wait, that's you. Human is like the next generation robot, can go 100 years without major service. Political Dissident says, Elon will be successful in that venture because he is driven. OpenAI was nonprofit and then went for profit, completely against the original plan that Elon signed up for.
Yes, I do agree that he's driven. He's going to be successful. One thing you might want to look into, though, on the whole OpenAI drama, there was a bunch of leaked emails that came out that OpenAI put out themselves on the conversations that they had with Elon over the years, and how he wanted to have complete control over OpenAI and take it private and make it a part of Tesla and make it for profit. So his whole goal was also to make it for profit. So that narrative that Elon's just this complete open source only AI is just not true.
And that's what these emails revealed?
Yeah, and these are direct emails from the OpenAI team that they released when Elon kept dragging them through in the news.
And the lawsuit, too. Is that still brewing, by the way? Or
I haven't heard
ongoing?
anything on update on the lawsuit, actually.
Yeah.
I'll have to check into that.
Interesting stuff. All right. Live Science posted that an AI trained by asteroid hunting citizen scientists helped identify more than 1,000 never before seen solar system objects from old Hubble images spanning 2 decades. So this isn't new imagery. AI was able to actually see things that humans couldn't. Not a surprise there. So what are they going to do with this? It really doesn't say, but it says that these 1,000 new solar system objects were hiding in plain sight. And after secretly photobombing images of the cosmos for decades, they were discovered. A combination of artificial intelligence and citizen scientists helped uncover these asteroids, and we'll have to wait to see what application or what value this has, other than an FYI.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. OpenAI introduces memory feature for ChatGPT users. You were talking about that continuously for the last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, memory across chat. All your chats, not just like the current chat that you're in.
All of them.
Yeah, so not only between your account, too. This is why I was talking to you about us, for our company purposes, upgrading to the enterprise level. Because for people that don't know, if you have the enterprise level, your information belongs only to your company, and it can't be data mined by other users or by OpenAI themselves, right? That's part of the terms. So
Right.
if you're on a standard plan, though, and you are using ChatGPT 4, it is now sharing memory and learning from all of the chats across all users.
Interesting.
It's storing it, and they've finally found a way to enable that in an effective manner to where it's just exponentially increased the learning of this system in ways that you couldn't possibly imagine. The next 6 months are going to be very interesting to see.
So the question we always get asked is, we're using AI for servicing Tesla vehicles, and we've collected years, a decade worth of data, which we consider intellectual property.
Yeah.
Symptom, diagnosis, resolution. If we embed this Roadster GPT program into the open enterprise, you're saying it's now available to the entire world, and we've basically released or made it open source.
Yeah, they'd have to know the right questions to ask and know how to get the information out of it, but it's technically out there in the memory now.
Interesting. All right, so we use Grok, we use ChatGPT 4.
Gemini, and now we're using Llama by
So 4 of them.
Meta. Yeah.
So they're all now interlinked.
Well, not the different chat systems. So if you use Llama, ChatGPT is not going to know about that information.
Okay, all right.
So only all ChatGPT users now have a shared memory. I think Llama has the same thing though, because I noticed it when I was first using Llama 3 that it has, at least between my own chats, because I'll start one chat and then I'll start a whole new thread, and it will know what I was talking about in the previous one.
Really?
That's
Okay.
something that ChatGPT didn't have for most of its life up until now.
I remember that, because you would basically start over again. You'd have to rephrase your prompt, and the next day or whatever.
Yep.
Close it out. Okay. So the article here says OpenAI introduces the memory feature for ChatGPT Plus users, allowing the module to retain information across chats, enhancing its conversational capabilities, and it'll remember specific details, influencing its responses. So you can personalize as well. And the rollout apparently excludes Europe and Korea. I don't know why. It doesn't say here.
It excludes what?
Europe and Korea at this point.
Oh.
Must be some regulatory issues with that they need to clear before they can do that. Here's another article. Amazon sales soar with boosts from AI and advertising. They say revenue at Amazon Web Services increased $25 billion as retail giant releases earnings reports surpassing Wall Street expectations. And they attributed that to it soared again first quarter of this year, the latest in a series of robust earnings reports for the retail giant, and they attribute this boost to AI being used in its advertising and sales goals. Okay. Do we have any other questions? Highlander says, I'm still sticking with 15 watts for the brain and about 100 for the body, but I'm open to suggestions.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, the political dissident also on TikTok says, thanks for the scoop. And he says, for quick mobile throwdown access to AI, I prefer to use Perplexity. Just sharing. That's interesting. We're going to have to look that one up. I don't know what that one is.
I'm familiar with that. Yeah. Thank you for the recommendation, by the way. We're always looking to expand our tools, AI tools.
Yeah. Any and all AI tools are good. And I'm happy to pay too. I know that even if that was their original goal for OpenAI, which would have been a pretty cool goal to just keep it all open source and free and just provide the world with advanced AI, I'm willing to pay $20 to get the kind of level of tech that we have now. I think it's going to help them grow a lot more to have some kind of income stream rather than waiting on donations and doing the whole nonprofit grants and all that stuff. So I hope Elon does the same thing too with Grok. I hope that I think it is now even a part of the $10 a month subscription, or either the $8 or the $16 a month subscription for X. That's how you get Grok. It's not free, and I think that's going to allow that to develop a lot faster too. So, kind of the the society we live in. You need money to make things better.
Well, it's the fuel that keeps the machinery running and attracts, more talent. And it's tough running a nonprofit and, having to deal with skills shortages continuously until you find another benefactor.
Mm.
So, yeah, you're right. And I think that the majority of people, seeing the power that's available, would pay.
And Political Dissident on TikTok says Perplexity allows 5 instances of usage for Copilot Pro per day for free. That's interesting. So Copilot is the Microsoft code assistant.
I think it's an image generator, though, because I've seen...
Copilot?
Yeah.
There might be a couple different Copilots, because I know they released Copilot today for Elementor as well, which is what we use for some of our websites.
Mm-hmm.
So they implemented that. They call it Elementor Copilot as an AI tool when you're building websites now.
I see.
So I think Copilot is maybe just used across a couple of different tools.
It's remarkable how quickly our organizations here have adopted artificial intelligence. It's quite common for the people in the call center here, or even the administrative staff, to use AI tools in order to perform their functions. And it happened very quickly. It was earlier this year that we actually began to make it available. And it looks like we've got more comments coming in. Highlander says, yes, I'm making my alliances early, and I'm sticking with the Team Gruber, the Highlander. And kindness is always free is his favorite motto. We haven't done that yet today, so thank you. Niels is joining us from Denmark. He says, Musk got a lot of slack for past successes, but I think he will hurt Tesla going forward. Not optimistic about Tesla anymore. Interesting, Niels. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, Pete. Elon tweeted this morning about the supercharger stuff. He said, we're still going to be working on supercharging, but we're just really rolling back the new facilities. And we're going to focus on getting the existing ones to 100% uptime.
Exactly. I did see that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we all knew when they were first rolling out superchargers, before superchargers, even destination chargers, that this would eventually be revenue generating for them, especially if they could get some standardization in the charging standard, which they did.
Well, yeah, they got that. Yeah. So that's what I don't understand on Twitter. Everybody in the community, whether it's Sawyer or not Farzad, but a couple of the other big names. There's so many of them I can't.
Yeah.
But they're all the Tesla people on X on Twitter right now are saying that they don't understand the decision basically, and they're wondering because right now they think that Tesla should be building as many as possible to keep their lead. Well, I'm of the opinion if everybody is standardized pretty much in all of Europe and here in the US to use their charge port, and everybody's going to be building chargers with that charge port, I don't know that they need to. I don't think there's going to be any shortage of chargers.
Well, it's like I think Mark pointed out, none of the large charging infrastructure development companies are making any are profitable yet. And at this point, let the other guys build infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that it's going to affect Tesla in a huge way because the initial intent for developing charging infrastructure was so they could sell their cars.
Yeah.
Who would buy a car if you couldn't drive to LA?
Could also signal something even, maybe this is just the way of covering it, but there could be some other massive technology shift happening in the next 2 years that we don't know about to where charging isn't going to be as
good point
necessary, or supercharging isn't going to be as necessary.
And that may be the answer, folks. Well, there's another technology, whether it's inductive coupling or a breakthrough of some type that is beginning to percolate. All right. Well, you know what? We've got our hour. We really appreciate all of you that join us for these podcasts. They're pretty informal, impromptu at times, and we're having fun with it. We hope you are. We'll do our best to collect more information by next Wednesday, and we wish you all a great day or a great evening wherever you are. Thank you for joining us.